Right, time to put Eddie's Porsche back together. Let's see what we got here. Hopefully you can see this better. So, let's start at the front. Wishbones are nice and straight. Quite often they bend up after a while, but these are still good, so happy days. Everything's been cleaned up nice. So hinge pins here, threaded, plain bit in there, otherwise you won't be able to get it out next time. That just in there like that, happy days. Nice and free. On that one, nice and free. Uppers. So here. Must be a pain, let's go here the other way. There we go. Front there. E-clip. One there, make sure it's seated. Lovely. Same for the other side. Happy days. So that's that. I'll leave that alone. Although, so this is your front belt tensioner roller. As you can see, the roller's removed and just added 7 more bearings into the mix of the same size that's in there. I think they're 6 by 15 by 4 or 5, something like that. And that will go up there and in the other side and take up the same job. And it just helps. Right, what have you got here? So we've got the belt channel. So people quite often get this wrong. They put the whole thing underneath, or they put the whole thing through the middle, which is obviously wrong. So one bit at the bottom, one bit through the middle, and push it together. And that's how that should look, basically. So I can grab chassis, all nice and clean. I've obviously put these bits back on. You don't need to see that going on. And that goes in there. You can actually feel although there's nothing actually that it goes into, just kind of, it sits in there and it's in. Right, for this one I used the shorter screws. Can't remember how long they are, 13 or something. But more importantly, you don't do these ones up too tight. It's not necessary. And it just distorts the belt channel, which will then rub against the belt and offer some sort of resistance, and maybe over time it might break the belt, who knows. But yeah, you're only kind of holding it in place, not holding it secure. So these little ones are perfect for that. I think actually it comes with the longer one as standard. They kind of penetrate far too far through for my liking. make your own jokes. Just tight but not tight. Right, now let's start with the wishbones here. Where's the other one bloody gone? Oh, there. She bastard. I can see it. Right, so. Okay. So 2 different lengths there. I think that's 25 and that's 30. 30's in the front. 25's at the rear. Put it down like that. Then, as I said, when I took it apart, the hole was getting bigger. So, just to try and help it, put one washer on there. These are like 1 mil. It had 3 washers on there. Although standard is no washers and 4 washers. That's standard. That's how they come. So that's that there. Notice they're all sticking straight upright as they should be, and when you put these on, hopefully that'll continue to be the case. Get that a bit straighter. Yeah, more or less. If they're really like that or out like that, then you've got these measurements wrong, basically. So you need to adjust this. What's that? 9 mil and that's 11, something like that, a rough sort of thing. Can't be far wrong. Make sure they're all facing up, but yeah, you can see that all the bolts are happy sitting where they are. They're not under strain or anything. So again, we can lock them down. There you are. Not happy days. It's 3 mil hex. Okie dokie. Right, what we got now? Got the rear diff. So nice new gear pulley on that. So nice and simple. Obviously, it's just removal of that. What I've done, I put the nuts up the right way, and that helps keep that nice and flat. And then I put a bit of thread lock on the top the other day and just let that dry, just to stop them backing off and coming out. Checked all the bearings, cleaned all the bearings, or just wiped them over really and see if they're any good or bad, and changed them. Luckily they're all good in this car, so happy days. Rear diff holders, make sure the thing. Now when we look at this, you can see the length of the screw they can take, and if you go too long in this one, it's going to hit this bearing, so there's a limit here. So you can get away just with this one, which is, I don't know, 25 or something, maybe mil, but I go with kind of those two, and then these ones, which I believe are 16, so maybe these are 19. So yeah, I'll put the 16 in the front and the 19 in the rear, as you can see, and that'll hold it nice and secure. Happy days. So I've got this on clutch setting 1, so we don't open tighten anything, because they're torque screws, or torque head screws. They're going nice. That's enough. Okay. So let's get onto the front. There. There. So this has got some thick sort of grease in there. I pulled most of it out because it's just a pain. It just leaked out everywhere, but this is perfectly good. So bearing, happy days. All good. And we can put it in that way. With that on the left hand side of the car, to compensate for the diff. I did see it once where it was the other way around, so the belt must have been running diagonally, but it's amazing that it kind of still worked, but it must have just driven awfully. But there you go, everyone learns every day. So simple as that. That goes in together nicely. Bearings are in there, as you can see, and that's that in there, and that's all there is to that. Okay, so it's all sitting in nicely in the locating lugs here, and this one you can go longer, whatever lengths they are. They're probably 25s or something. In the front 4, because you're not going into anything other than diff case. But these two here need to be the 16s, because the case is shorter there. So all quite obvious, but not always done. The fact that it tightens up on the clutch means I know that the screw hole is still nice and fresh. Otherwise it would just keep spinning, obviously. So it's a good way of checking the threads on your stuff. Make sure in there it's got the spring, small side pointing outwards, as you stick them in there, stop any of that grease falling out. Nice bit of anyway. Right. Where are we now? So that's that. So next we need the rear tensioner. This is something else that was modified. So this one's completely different. You won't be able to do this one, but if you take the 10mm standard shaft, is this one? Oh, it is this one actually. Okay, so standard 10mm shaft that comes in the car as standard, but the bearings on there are 19 millimeters. So these are 15. So quite a lot of difference. So basically, you just need to order 10 by 15. I think these are 4. They're off of the Armour cars, but nice and cheap. I think 80p a bearing. And obviously going from 19 to 15mm, losing 4mm, you've got much more clearance on your belt. It'll run much freer, which is great for the electric cars. Alright, so that just goes together just like that, with the bearings all the way in there like that, because it can be removed and turned around the other way for different cars, or you can actually get different pulleys, so maybe it's for that. I've never really known that one. Yeah, maybe. Just pulleys are smaller, the belt's going to go too slack. So if you turn that round the other way, yeah, maybe it's that. I don't know, I'm guessing. And I've been guessing on all this stuff all my life. So there we go. So this will take 4 of the 16mm. 3 days. So as we get it on there, we need to make sure that the belt is not hooked over on the teeth here. So this sometimes doesn't want to go down, and it's because you haven't got the teeth in the all in the right place. It's probably rucked up somewhere. So you just roll it forward and all of a sudden it will free itself and go in there. Can be a little bit frustrating sometimes, but it does get there in the end. So 4 16mm in there. Perfect. Okay, and that all runs lovely and free. If it doesn't, something's wrong. Sometimes the belts are a bit tight when they're new, but I just buy a better quality belt, the Continental belts or Contitech, and they seem to run a lot freer. Okay, so rear hubs. So 4 bearings here, checked them already, they're all good. Lovely. So 1 in there, and then the most crucial bit, the spacer, must go in there, and then that in there. There's the other rear one, there's the other rear one. There. There's my little spacer. Pop him in there. In there. So that's done. Let's have a go on the fronts. Here's the hub. Here's the 4 inner nuts. So we need to put them in first. And get big bearing. Make sure that's seated right down. In there. Yeah. Let's do the other one while here. seated in there nicely. Double check. There we go. Yeah. And then the two outer bearings. Same as the rear bearings. All good. Yeah, right. Sorry. Might as well fit these while we're here then. So let's get that through there. Oh, I didn't check that one's got a spring. Yeah, it's got a spring in that side. Oh, I'll tell you what we could do before that. Make it a bit clearer. Front sway bar, roll bar. So there's a way up that these go. You pre-test it. That one's gone in a tree. Let's put this one upside down. Yeah, it's just not sitting in the same way as that one. Turn it upside down. And it sits in lovely. Okay, so put it on there, on there. Actually, feed it through the arms first. There's that one. What's that one? And that one. Now these are the button head. I don't know what lengths they are. 25, I'm guessing. There. Now this will do them up, and then undo them again. So on this part, that's way too tight, because the sway bar is now solid. Well, that's no good. So if we back it off half a turn, and then give it a test, maybe a little bit more. There we go, happy days. Right, now back to this. So, these hubs, front hubs, although they look similar, they are left and right. It's all to do with the angle, so that'll be the left one. So when it's on the car like that, it kind of leans, there you go, like that. So that's straight there. That'll be the angle that it sits up at, because it's four-wheel drive. So yeah, that's the way you want to do that. But what we got here is these, which I think are 25s. If you go too long, it's going to go through too far, and it's going to start hitting on these pins here and knock the pins out, basically. So this is the right length to have there. Should have done this in the first place. Too late now. Yeah, 25s. Okay. And washer. So bolt through. Washer on there. And through there. You can thread lock it. You can put a little bit of thread lock on it if you want, but it's going to make it an absolute pain to get out next time. These are one size bigger, these ones. But again, because they're Torx, getting really nice and tight, and eliminate the need for thread lock. If it comes off and it comes off again, then obviously you're going to have to put a tiny little bit of thread lock on there. And then maybe put a soldering iron on that to get the heat to transfer through, or get a soldering iron in there if it won't come off. But these Torx are really good. Happy days. What's that crack? Power. Sure. Oh. Washer. Lovely. Okay. While we're at this end, might as well put the squares on. So this is a bit they make a mistake on all the time. So there's a raised bit there, collar, very little, and it smooths that side. So that must go against the bearing, otherwise your bearings are going to bind up. There we go. 3 mil, 3 mil. Yeah, maybe I should thread lock these actually. These do have a habit. But that's all you need, really. There's some on the thread there already. And just remember to use a bit of heat to get them off, as we saw in the strip down video. There we go. Same thing on the side. So we've got 4 hinge pins here. 2 of them are 63 mil long, to on a 65mm long, so they look very similar, but there clearly is a difference in length. So the longer one is for the upper and the smaller one is for the lower. So let's go with the lower. Get the right side, that's the lower. Actually, let's put the shafts in first. Okay. So they're a little bit messy, these boots. I haven't got any more here, so we'll put up with it. What's the longer one? That's the longer one. That'll go in there. Oh, this is the one that's split. That needs to be changed, but as I say, I haven't got any. Yeah. Yeah. Guys, short ones. E-clip. Okay, then rear shock tower. Hook it up to the this one's got the 4mm sway bar, so you use these holes here, little washer, not too tight so that it can flex. If you've got the 5mm sway bar, then you'll use this hole with the washer over it, and again not too tight so that it can move freely. There you go, you know you want to go in. And again, the same as the front sway bar. Yeah, 25. And they go in there, 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 and there. Get a screwdriver. Okie dokie. Yeah, that catastrophe. Right. Blimey. Where's it not going through? Came out of here. Right, I'll have to make that hole bigger. Oh, you're a giraffe. Blimey. Very sharp, this one. slightly bulged on each end where it's been screwed up. That's what it is like. Okay, I'm coming back to that as annoying. Right, this way. Okay, so we just go straight on with this. These would be button head screws, 4 of them. It doesn't really matter on the length of them, but they look like 20s to me. 19s. Yeah, 19s. Where's the other one gone? There you are. You can have the front bumper on. Make sure these ones underneath. Look through there. Little washer. And a nut. Get some more than that. So 3 of them would be in total. These are too long. I'll do that in as well. It takes too long. Okie dokie. Right. So these. There going at the front. We've got a washer to stop that puncturing through the plastic there. And on this one, in the 510, you've got 3 holes. I'll go the middle one. On the 530, it's the same bit, but they saw this off because this is mounted further forward. So they're the same thing. Little spanner. Same on this side. Squares them back. These are very very weird. Quite heavy as well. Oh, they do the job. Right, now we've got a bit of spaces to do here. So this is just how it comes standard. You got the, I think these are 4mm. Never measured them. There we go. Well, I couldn't be more wrong there, could I? 6mm. Oh yeah. Never knew that. Anyway, so I'll put them both at the front. And you can get this one. I'm not going to quote any more measurements because I'm completely wrong. 2mm at the back and at the back. Now that's how it is standard. You can adjust to your own preference. So at the rear, you can see that it's quite happy sitting all the way forward. So we just got to plug that gap at the back. If I remember, for some reason, you had 2 in one side and 3 in the other. It's probably because one's dropped out. Or it might be because the 2 bits are different. That can definitely take another one. There you go, 3 in there, happy days. Yeah. I'm guessing should need 3 in this side. There's 2. So we can get another one in. Yeah, there we go. So you could have put one big 6mm in there, or 3 2mm, same difference obviously. Depends what you got. Oh yeah. The diff protector. Let's make sure it's all running lovely and free, which it is. No problem with that at all. Put that on there. Close that down. And that's that done. We're not done. I've still got to clean these shocks. And clean that. And clean that. Put the foam bumper back on the front. And that's it, done. All ready. Finished. So, happy days on that. All good. All nice and back to new looking. But more importantly, nothing's damaged inside or anything. And it's all going to work. Yes, not looking forward to that. But that's all got to come apart. I'll run a damp sponge over the servos and all that there. We'll get all that sorted. But Eddie, that's your car done for you, mate.